Seneca on why Stoic men don't need social media. Stoicism. The man who needs an audience is never truly free. Imagine waking up tomorrow and nobody could see what you did. No one could like it. No one could praise it. No one could admire it. No one could congratulate you. No one could tell you that you were successful. Would you still become the same man? Would you still wake up with purpose? Would you still work with the same discipline? Would you still choose integrity when nobody was watching? Most people answer that question too quickly. They say yes. The Stoics believed the honest answer is much harder to discover because many people never truly live for themselves. They perform for invisible audiences, even when they are completely alone. A strange thing happens when the human mind believes it is being observed. Every action quietly changes. Not because the action itself matters, because someone else's opinion begins to matter more. Without realizing it, life slowly transforms into a performance, not for one person, for everyone. The applause becomes invisible, but the desire for it never disappears. Seneca understood this long before the modern world placed an audience inside every pocket. He watched people sacrifice peace for reputation, truth for popularity, character for admiration. He realized that the prison was never built by other people. It was built by the desperate need to be seen by them. Imagine an actor who has forgotten the difference between the stage and his own life. At first, he performs only during the play. Then, he continues performing after the curtain falls. Eventually, he forgets who he is without an audience. Many people live exactly this way. Not because they are dishonest, because they have slowly confused approval with identity. The Stoics refused to make that mistake. They believed that the greatest freedom a person could ever experience was not financial freedom, not political freedom, not even physical freedom. It was the freedom to remain exactly the same person, whether the world applauded or remained completely silent. Seneca expresses this idea beautifully in Seneca's letters. From a Stoic, paragraph 5, reminding us that the wise person measures his life according to reason rather than public opinion. The approval of the crowd is unstable because the crowd itself is unstable. A man who builds his identity upon applause will eventually discover that applause always demands another performance. That changes everything, because the goal is no longer becoming impressive. The goal becomes becoming authentic. No longer asking, who do they want me to be? But asking, who am I when nobody is looking? That question has the power to unsettle almost anyone, because it removes every audience, every compliment, every expectation, every opportunity to perform. And what remains is the only person you can never escape, yourself. The moment you stop living to be seen, you begin seeing yourself with complete honesty. That is where real freedom begins, and it begins with discovering something almost nobody realizes. Even when we are completely alone, the audience is often still inside our own minds. The invisible crowd is always watching. There is a crowd that follows most people everywhere. It has no faces, no voices, no names. Yet it influences thousands of decisions every single day. The strange part is, it does not exist outside the mind. It exists inside it. Imagine sitting alone in a quiet room. Nobody is there. No one is watching. No one is listening. Yet before making a decision, a thought quietly appears. What would people think if they saw this? Another follows. Would this make me look successful? Then another. Would they approve? No audience is present, yet the performance has already begun. The Stoics understood that the greatest audience is often imaginary. Most people believe they seek approval from other people. In reality, They carry those people inside their own minds. The crowd never leaves. It follows them into their work, their relationships, their ambitions, even their private moments. Little by little, their own judgment becomes quieter than the imagined opinions of everyone else. Seneca understood this deeply. He realized that many people were not controlled by chains. They were controlled by expectations. Not because those expectations were spoken aloud, because they had become internal. In Seneca's Letters from a Stoic, paragraph 5, he reminds us that the wise person refuses to surrender his peace to public opinion. The crowd constantly changes its standards, its praise, and its criticism. A man who allows those shifting opinions to govern his choices will never possess a stable mind, because he has handed its government to strangers. Imagine an actor who never leaves the stage. The audience has already gone home. The theater is empty. Yet he continues performing. He bows. He smiles. He repeats every line. Not because anyone is watching, because he has forgotten how to stop acting. Many people live exactly this way, even in complete solitude. They imagine observers. They edit their thoughts. They rehearse conversations that never happen. They picture how others might judge their choices. Without realizing it, they have become both the performer and the audience. The Stoic quietly breaks that cycle. He asks a question that almost nobody else asks. If nobody ever knew I had done this, would I still choose to do it? That question strips away every performance, every excuse, every hidden desire for recognition. What remains is character. Because character exists even when nobody applauds it. Integrity exists even when nobody notices it. Discipline exists even when nobody rewards it. The Stoics believed that the strongest man is not the one admired by the largest crowd. He is the one who no longer carries the crowd inside his own mind. Only then does his judgment become truly his own. Only then does freedom quietly begin. And once that invisible audience loses its power, you begin discovering something even more dangerous than being watched. You begin discovering why approval itself becomes one of the most addictive things a human being can ever pursue. Approval is the most addictive currency. Money becomes less valuable the moment you spend it. Approval becomes less satisfying the moment you receive it. That is why one compliment is never enough. One achievement is never enough. One moment of recognition is never enough. The mind immediately begins searching for the next one. Most people never notice this pattern. They believe they are chasing success. The Stoics believed they were chasing approval disguised as success. Imagine drinking salt water in the middle of the ocean. For a brief moment, it feels like relief. Then something unexpected happens. Your thirst grows even stronger. The very thing that promised satisfaction quietly creates greater need. Approval works the same way. Someone praises your work. You feel good. For a while. Then the feeling fades. The mind asks another question. Can I get that feeling again? Another compliment, another achievement, another audience, another moment of recognition. Without realizing it, your emotional stability begins depending on something you cannot control. The Stoics recognized this trap centuries ago. They understood that the danger was never praise itself. The danger was becoming dependent upon it. Because the moment another person's approval becomes necessary for your peace no longer belongs to you. It belongs to whoever is holding the applause. Seneca understood this deeply. In Seneca's Letters from a Stoic, paragraph 5, he reminds us that public approval is one of the least reliable foundations upon which to build a life. The crowd praises one thing today and condemns the same thing tomorrow. The wise person refuses to measure his worth by opinions that change as quickly as the people expressing them. Think about how often people change simply because they fear losing approval. They stop expressing honest opinions. They avoid necessary conversations. They abandon meaningful goals. They become whoever receives the most applause. Little by little, they stop recognizing themselves. The Stoics chose another standard. Instead of asking, "Will people approve?" they asked, "Can I approve of myself after making this decision?" That question changes everything, because your conscience does not fluctuate with trends. It does not reward popularity. It rewards integrity. Imagine a merchant who accepts only counterfeit coins. At first, his purse appears full. But when the time comes to buy something of real value, he discovers he possesses nothing. Many people build their confidence the same way. They collect approval, compliments, recognition, admiration. Yet when criticism finally arrives, their confidence immediately collapses. Why? Because it was never built upon character. It was built upon applause. The Stoics built something entirely different, a reputation inside themselves, one that could not be increased by praise or diminished by criticism. That is real wealth, because the richest man is not the one who receives the most approval. It is the one who no longer depends upon receiving any. Ironically, that is exactly when approval loses its power over him. Not because people stop admiring him, because he stops needing their admiration to know his worth. And once approval is no longer the currency guiding your life, something remarkable begins to happen. You stop feeling the need to constantly show the world who you are. You simply begin living quietly, authentically, without turning every meaningful moment into something that must be witnessed. The quiet man stops broadcasting his life. There comes a moment in every man's life when he asks a difficult question. Who am I doing this for? At first, the answer seems obvious. My family, my future, my purpose. But if he looks a little deeper, he often discovers another answer quietly hiding beneath them all. I want people to see it. The Stoics believed this desire was far more dangerous than most people realized. Not because being seen is wrong, because living to be seen slowly changes the reason you live. Imagine planting a tree in your garden. Every morning, instead of watering it, you invite the neighbors to admire it. You talk about how tall it will become, how beautiful it will be, how proud you are of it. Meanwhile, the roots receive almost no attention. The Stoics believed many lives unfold exactly this way. People become experts at displaying growth before they have truly achieved it. The quiet man chooses something different. He continues watering the roots, whether anyone notices or not. That is why he slowly stops broadcasting every part of his life. Not because he has become secretive, not because he fears success, not because he dislikes people, because his life no longer exists to be witnessed. It exists to be lived. Seneca understood this deeply. In Seneca's Letters from a Stoic, paragraph 5, he reminds us that the wise person does not pursue virtue for admiration. Virtue loses its purity the moment it becomes a performance for the crowd. The value of a good action is not increased because others witness it. It remains equally valuable, even when no one knows it happened. Think about the strongest habits you have ever built. The days you kept your promises, the mornings you chose discipline over comfort, the moments you remained calm instead of reacting. Most of those victories happened quietly. No applause, no recognition, no audience. Yet those invisible victories shaped your character far more than the achievements everyone celebrated. The Stoics understood that real transformation almost always happens in private. Integrity is practiced when nobody can reward it. Self-control is strengthened when nobody can admire it. Wisdom grows during conversations that never become stories. Discipline is forged through decisions that no one else will ever witness. Imagine an ancient sculptor working alone inside his workshop. Visitors admire the finished statue standing in the city square. Very few ever see the thousands of careful strikes that shaped it. Yet every visible masterpiece depends upon invisible work. Character follows the same law. The world usually sees the result. The Stoic remains devoted to the process. That changes the way he experiences success. He no longer asks, "Who noticed?" He asks, "Who am I becoming?" The first question depends on the crowd. The second depends entirely on him. Little by little, the need to announce every achievement disappears. The need to prove constant progress disappears. His confidence becomes quieter. His life becomes simpler. His peace becomes deeper. Ironically, that quiet life often becomes far more inspiring than any performance ever could, because authenticity has a presence that performance can never imitate. And once a man stops living as though every moment needs an audience, he discovers one of the greatest truths Seneca ever taught. Attention was never truly his to own. Only character was. Attention is borrowed. Character is owned. There is one mistake almost everyone makes. They confuse attention with value. The Stoics never did. Attention can be given. Attention can be taken away. Character belongs only to you. Imagine borrowing a magnificent house. For a while, it feels like yours. You decorate it. You invite people inside. You become proud of it. Then one day, the owner asks for it back. Suddenly, you realize it never truly belonged to you. The Stoics believed attention works exactly the same way. Today the crowd applauds. Tomorrow, it looks elsewhere. Nothing about your character has changed. Only the direction of the crowd. That is why Seneca warned against building your identity upon anything that depends on other people. Because anything borrowed can eventually be reclaimed. Character cannot. Most people spend years protecting their reputation. The Stoics spent their lives protecting their conscience. Those are entirely different investments. Reputation belongs to the crowd. Character belongs to the soul. Reputation changes every time another opinion changes. Character remains exactly where you left it yesterday. Imagine two men standing before the same mirror. The first spends hours polishing the glass. The second spends his time becoming someone worth reflecting. The first protects appearances. The second protects reality. Only one of them leaves the room stronger. Seneca understood this deeply. In Seneca's Letters from a Stoic, paragraph 5, he reminds us that the praise of others can never become the foundation of a peaceful life. Public opinion changes too quickly to support lasting happiness. The wise person builds his life upon virtue because virtue remains his possession even when every voice around him falls silent. Think about how exhausting it becomes to maintain an image. You must constantly protect it, defend it, update it, improve it, convince people it still exists. Character requires none of that. Character quietly proves itself every single day, without announcements, without performances, without witnesses. The Stoics understood something remarkable. Followers belong to the crowd. Character belongs to you. Recognition belongs to fortune. Integrity belongs to choice. Reputation is rented. Character is permanent. That distinction changes the way a man approaches every decision. Instead of asking, "Will this make me look successful?" he asks, "Will this make me more honorable?" Instead of asking, "What will people think?" he asks, "Can I respect myself after this?" Those questions cannot be answered by applause. They can only be answered by conscience. Imagine an ancient castle built upon solid stone. Storms arrive. Empires rise. Empires disappear. Generations come and go. The foundation remains. The Stoics wanted character to become that foundation, not something strengthened by praise, not something weakened by criticism, something that remained untouched by both. Ironically, the less a man depends upon attention, the more attention he often receives. Not because he seeks it, because people instinctively recognize someone who is no longer controlled by it. That quiet independence becomes rare, and rare things naturally attract curiosity. But the Stoic is no longer interested in being seen. He's interested in remaining true, because he understands that there is an even greater threat than chasing attention. It is allowing someone else's life to become the standard by which you measure your own. Protect your inner world from constant comparison. Comparison rarely begins with another person. It begins with a forgotten question. Is my life enough? The moment that question appears, the mind immediately starts looking for someone else to answer it. Someone richer, someone more successful, someone more admired, someone further ahead. Without realizing it, you stop living your own life. You begin measuring it against someone else's. The Stoics believed this was one of the fastest ways to lose yourself. Not because other people were doing better, because you had quietly allowed another person's journey to become the ruler of your own. Imagine walking through a beautiful forest. The path beneath your feet is peaceful. The air is fresh. The destination is clear. Then you notice another traveler on a different trail. He seems to be moving faster. Without thinking, you leave your own path. Soon you are no longer traveling toward your destination. You are simply following someone else's direction. Comparison works exactly the same way. It convinces you that another person's progress somehow diminishes your own. The Stoics refused to believe that. Seneca understood this deeply. In Seneca's Letters from a Stoic, paragraph 5, he reminds us that the wise person measures his life according to reason rather than the shifting standards of others. Another person's success neither improves nor weakens your character. Only your own choices possess that power. Think about how often comparison quietly changes your emotions. Someone receives recognition. Suddenly, your own achievements feel smaller. Someone reaches a milestone. Suddenly, your own progress feels slower. Someone appears happier. Suddenly, your own life feels incomplete. Nothing in your reality has changed, only your point of reference. That is why comparison is so deceptive. It creates suffering without changing a single fact. The Stoics understood that peace disappears the moment another person's life becomes the measuring stick for your own. Because there will always be someone with more wealth, more influence, more recognition, more opportunities. If your contentment depends upon surpassing everyone else, contentment will always remain out of reach. The wise man chooses a different standard. He compares himself only with the man he was yesterday, not to feed his ego, to strengthen his character. That single habit transforms the entire direction of his life. Instead of asking, "Why is he further ahead?" he asks, "Am I becoming wiser than I was yesterday?" Instead of wondering, "Why does she seem happier?" he asks, "Am I living according to my own values?" Those questions produce growth instead of envy. Imagine a craftsman carving a piece of wood. He never stops every few minutes to compare his work with every other craftsman in the village. His eyes remain on the sculpture before him, because he understands something simple. The moment he becomes obsessed with everyone else's work, he neglects his own. Life follows the same principle. Your greatest responsibility has never been to build another person's character. It has always been to build your own. Ironically, the less you compare yourself with others, the more genuinely you begin appreciating them. Their success no longer threatens yours. Their achievements no longer diminish your own progress. Their victories become proof of what is possible, not evidence of what you lack. That is real freedom, because your peace no longer rises and falls with someone else's life. It remains exactly where the Stoics believed it always belonged, within you. And once your inner world is no longer disturbed by endless comparison, you discover something almost forgotten in the modern world. Silence, not as emptiness, but as one of the greatest luxuries a human being can ever possess. Silence becomes a luxury. There was a time when silence was ordinary. Today, it has become one of the rarest experiences a human being can find. The moment you wake up, something begins asking for your attention. A notification, a headline, a message, a recommendation, an opinion, another opinion, then another. By the end of the day, your mind has hosted hundreds of voices. Very few of them were your own. The Stoics believed this was one of the greatest dangers to wisdom, not because information is harmful, because constant interruption quietly replaces self-reflection. Imagine living beside a river so loud that you have never heard your own heartbeat. Year after year, you forget what silence even sounds like. Many people experience the same thing inside their own minds. The noise never stops. Not because life demands it, because they have forgotten how to exist without constant stimulation. Seneca understood this deeply. In Seneca's Letters from a Stoic, paragraph 5, he reminds us that the wise person deliberately protects moments of solitude and reflection, knowing that reason grows stronger when the mind is no longer pulled in every direction by the voices of the crowd. A peaceful mind cannot be built upon endless distraction because wisdom requires the space to examine itself. The Stoics did not seek silence because they feared the world. They sought silence because they wanted to hear themselves clearly. That is a profound difference. Most people become uncomfortable the moment nothing is happening. No music, no conversation, no screen, no distraction. Almost immediately, the hand reaches for something, anything, not because it is necessary, because silence begins revealing thoughts they have spent years avoiding. The Stoic remains. He does not rush to fill the empty space. He allows it to teach him. Imagine a lake after the wind finally stops. For hours, the surface was disturbed. Every reflection was distorted. Then the air becomes still. Suddenly, the water reflects everything with perfect clarity. The mind works exactly the same way. When constant stimulation finally settles, judgment becomes clearer, emotions become quieter, priorities become easier to recognize. The answers you have been chasing often appear, not because you searched harder, because you finally stopped interrupting yourself. That is why silence becomes such a remarkable luxury, not because it is expensive, because so few people are willing to experience it. The Stoics discovered that the absence of noise is not emptiness. It is space. Space for reason, space for gratitude, space for discipline, space for truth. Little by little, you stop fearing your own thoughts. You begin understanding them. You stop escaping your own company. You begin enjoying it. That is freedom. Not freedom from responsibility. Not freedom from difficulty. Freedom from the constant need to be mentally occupied. The modern world teaches you that every quiet moment should be filled. The Stoics quietly replied, "Leave some moments untouched, because the mind that never rests never truly sees." And the man who learns to sit comfortably in silence eventually discovers something extraordinary. The greatest achievements in life rarely require an audience. They require a character strong enough to keep growing, even when nobody is watching. Live a life that doesn't need witnesses. The greatest victories a man will ever achieve are rarely visible. No one applauds the moment you choose patience over anger. No one celebrates the moment you resist temptation. No one notices when you keep a promise to yourself that nobody else even knew you made. Yet those invisible moments quietly shape the person you become. The Stoics believed that the most important work in life almost always happens where no audience can reach it. Imagine an architect laying the foundation of a great cathedral. For months, perhaps for years, nothing magnificent can be seen. People walk past. Some wonder whether anything meaningful is happening at all. They cannot see the foundation beneath the ground. Yet every stone placed in silence determines whether the building will stand for centuries or collapse under its own weight. Character is built exactly the same way. The strongest parts of a man's life are usually invisible: integrity, self-control, humility, discipline, patience. No audience required. Seneca understood this deeply. In Seneca's Letters from a Stoic, paragraph 5, he reminds us that virtue does not become greater because it is witnessed. A good action performed in complete solitude possesses exactly the same moral value as one admired by the entire world. The wise person seeks excellence because excellence is right, not because excellence is noticed. That completely changes the purpose of life. Most people quietly ask, "Who will see this?" The Stoic asks, "Who will I become by doing this?" One question seeks recognition. The other builds character. Imagine a gardener planting seeds beneath the soil. For weeks, nothing appears. To anyone watching, it looks as though nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, roots are growing. Strength is forming. Life is preparing itself. One day, the tree finally rises above the ground. People admire its beauty. Very few understand that everything they admire was created long before it became visible. Human character follows the same law. The discipline people admire was practiced in private. The wisdom they respect was developed in silence. The confidence they notice was built through countless unseen victories. That is why Stoic men never become discouraged when nobody notices their efforts. They were never working for applause. They were working on themselves. The modern world often measures success by visibility. The Stoics measured success by alignment. Does your life reflect your principles? Do your actions match your values? Can you remain the same person when nobody is watching? Those questions matter because eventually every audience disappears. Careers end. Recognition fades. Opinions change. Applause grows quiet. Only one witness remains with you until the final day of your life: your own conscience. The Stoics believed that if you could stand honestly before that witness, you had already succeeded. Because there is no greater freedom than respecting the person you become in private. Ironically, when a man no longer needs witnesses, his life often becomes worth witnessing. Not because he is trying to inspire anyone, because authentic character naturally inspires those who encounter it. That is the quiet paradox Seneca leaves us. The less you live for the eyes of the world, the more meaningful your life quietly becomes. And once a man discovers that, he no longer asks whether the world has noticed him. He simply continues becoming the kind of man whose character never depended on being seen in the first place. Tomorrow, the world will invite you to post, to compare, to react, to seek another moment of attention. It will tell you that your value increases every time more people notice you, that your life becomes more meaningful every time someone approves of it. That visibility is success. That silence is irrelevance. Seneca quietly asks only one question. If nobody applauded your life, would you still be proud of the way you lived it? Pause for a moment, because that question reaches far deeper than technology. It reaches identity. Everything you have heard today points toward one simple truth: the invisible audience inside your mind, the temptation to broadcast every achievement, the difference between borrowed attention and owned character, the habit of comparing your journey with someone else's, the forgotten beauty of silence, the courage to build a life that does not require witnesses. None of these lessons is really about social media. They are about freedom. Seneca understood this nearly 2,000 years ago. In Seneca's Letters from a Stoic, paragraph 5, he reminds us that the wise person does not entrust his happiness to the unstable opinions of the crowd. Public approval rises and falls like the wind. Only a life governed by reason and virtue provides a foundation that cannot be taken away. That is why the Stoics never measured success by visibility. They measured it by integrity. A man may become famous and still remain a stranger to himself. Another may pass through life almost unnoticed, yet possess complete peace because he never abandoned his principles. The first owns attention. The second owns himself. Only one of those is real freedom. Imagine reaching the end of your life. Every photograph has faded. Every title has been forgotten. Every opinion has disappeared. No audience remains. No applause remains. Only one question survives. Did you become the person you were capable of becoming? The Stoics believed that question was worth far more than a lifetime of admiration. Because admiration belongs to other people, character belongs to you. That is why Seneca never encouraged people to escape the world. He encouraged them to escape dependence upon it, to use every tool wisely, without allowing any tool to define their identity, to accept praise without becoming addicted to it, to accept criticism without becoming imprisoned by it, to remain exactly the same person, whether surrounded by applause or complete silence. That kind of freedom cannot be purchased. It cannot be downloaded. It cannot be given by another person. It is earned, quietly, one decision at a time, one act of integrity at a time, one moment of self-mastery at a time. If this lesson helped you see the modern world through the timeless wisdom of Seneca and Stoicism, subscribe to the Discipline Code. Every week, we explore practical Stoic philosophy to help you build self-discipline, emotional resilience, inner peace, mental clarity, and the kind of character that remains unshaken, whether the world is watching or not. Until next time, do not measure your life by the number of people who notice it. Measure it by the person you become while no one is looking. Because the strongest Stoic is not the man who disappears from the world. It is the man who no longer needs the world to confirm who he is.